Hello, and welcome to the first session of Raving Roleplayer's narrated Lovecraftian horror tabletop RPG. Our long journey begins in the bustling marketplace of New Orleans in the sweltering spring of 1921. Our brave band of adventurers includes James Upton Sinclair, an Arkham police investigator and one of the last in an ancient line of peacekeepers and supernatural mediators known as the Gunslingers. James recently lost his wife to an unknown disease, and seeking a way to run from the painful memories in his hometown in Arkham, he found himself in New Orleans, looking to put his unique talent to use on its unruly criminal cartels and cults. Then there's Amelia Finch, a unique woman with a dark and troubled past and a truly impressive set of powers. Gifted, or cursed, with a mysterious force called the Shining, Amelia is able to communicate with the spirits of the deceased. This comes with a heavy burden: the protection of those who have passed, and the preservation of their memory from sinister forces. Finally, there is one, the result of obscure experiments done by an unknown organization and facially scarred from an alchemical accident involving a burlap sack and a severe acid burn. Equipped with telekinetic powers and his own inquisitive nature, one is the scientific mind of the party. These uniquely skilled people, each brought together by unseen and sinister hands to be part of something greater, began their tale with a letter sealed with a blood-red wax A stamp. Contained within the letter were 2 newspaper clippings. The first detailed the grisly murders of 5 children, all between the ages of 6 and 12. Reported missing some time ago, the children had been found drained of their blood from an unknown method, and anatomical reports later revealed the presence of severe organ damage despite no signs of a struggle. All 5 children were found stuck in the branches of a tree in a forest on the outskirts of the city, a forest often referred to with fear and loathing. The second newspaper article described an event 3 days later, wherein a private investigator attempted to gather clues inside the forest. The man had been found also drained of blood, with his eyes pushed halfway through his brain. Most mysteriously, there was no trauma to either organ. It was obvious to the players that some investigation of their own was required, but first they decided to procure a living space and brush up on local talk of the event. They first rented an apartment, then, after settling in, made their way to a local eatery, where they learned from local legend that those particular woods are famous for their strange, unexplainable deaths. Even local practitioners of voodoo and cult rituals steer clear of the long, skeletal branches on the forest edge. Finally, as the umbra of night fell upon the city, the party set out to investigate the strange happenings. As they stood at the edge of the looming tree line, Amelia immediately recognized the forest as a location in which she had spent a large portion of her life trapped inside. With understandable reluctance, she recounted her experiences, especially concerning a certain part of the forest that she had always been careful to avoid on account of the twisted dreams and hallucinations that she often experienced around its borders. These disturbing accounts shared, Amelia agreed to lead them to the location. There was little doubt in anyone's mind that the most abysmal part of the forest had something to do with the recent murders. As they entered the most ancient and malevolent part of the forest, everyone could feel a sudden mount of dread, taste a radiating fear in the air. Soon they came across a mysterious structure in the middle of a clearing of trees. Constructed of old stone, the building was a circular tower of about 12 feet in height. There was an entryway in front, and as they peered through the gloom, the party could see what looked to be a pile of logs surrounded by small objects on the ground. The party carefully entered the structure to discover that the objects on the ground were 8 pieces of paper. Suddenly, there was a rumbling from above. They looked up to the roofless sky, and as they looked up in surprise and fear, a bolt of lightning descended upon them in the cloudless night. Several hours later, the party, regaining consciousness and now finding themselves amongst the strewn wreckage of the stone structure, began to retreat with great haste. As they were about to break for the edge of the clearing, a thin man in a black suit with a blank white face stepped menacingly from the trees to block their path. The man oozed an aura of fear and repulsion, and with every passing second, Hallucinations of children's screams grew louder in the party members' ears, and the trees around them seemed to shake and slither towards them as if given horrible, obscene life. The group split up, running mindlessly through the forest for their lives. As they went, the snaking arms of the trees grabbed and pulled them, slowing their progress. A root leapt in front of one's path, bringing him to his knees. As one's hand fell upon the jet-black shoe of a man, he felt a horrible, sickening feeling passing through him. Scrambling to his feet, he ran as fast as he could. Finally, all three burst through the trees and out of the forest. Collapsing from terror and exhaustion, they wearily looked behind them to see the man with no face waving them goodbye. For now. Hi guys, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed our first major video. Unfortunately, I could only record the first half of our first session due to homework load and time constraints being just a bit too much for me. I didn't want to give a project that I wasn't very proud of, and I put a lot of work into these drawings and narrations, and so I want to continue having that quality over quantity. Hopefully the next section of this session will be released probably in the next 2-3 weeks is what I'm guessing. I already have the script laid out and I know what I need to do for the drawings, but it was just too much work to fit in before Halloween. Anyways, happy Halloween, and I hope you enjoyed our video.